Welcome back to the Voices of MED13L, the official podcast of the MED13L Foundation. I'm Inon Shampanier, a father to a child with MED13L, and your host for today's episode, where we continue our ongoing series, Growing Up with MED13L. In the series, we hear directly from families about what life is like at different ages and stages, offering real insight, perspective, and connection. For anyone wondering what the road lies ahead, what the road may hold, today's episode is about growing up with MED13L, life at 11. Let's get started.
Together we are not so
Welcome back for another episode of the Voices of MED13L. Today we're starting our Growing Up with MED13L series with Life at 11, and I'm so happy to be joined by fellow MED13L parent Anna Fracalossi. Hi Anna.
How are you?
I'm great. Anna is mother to Elisa. I had the pleasure of meeting both of you at the Boston conference. I'm really glad you could join us today. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. I'd love to hear, first of all, about the beginning of your journey, Elisa's diagnosis, and then we'll dive into what life is like today with Elisa.
Yes, absolutely. The journey was lengthy for us. So we've started noticing delays when Elisa was 6 months. And these were, for the most part, physical delays. She was a very static baby. She would not try to reach her toys. She would not roll over. And she would not even sit by herself without support. So it started around 6 months of age.
Mhm.
And then at that moment, her pediatrician said, let's wait a little bit to see how things develop for her until we really dig into what the causes really may be. And then I remember when she was 8 months, being at her appointment with her, and I was telling her pediatrician, oh, I think she's lazy. And I always remember that conversation with the pediatrician. And she told me, Anna, there isn't such a thing. We have to see what's really causing the delays we are seeing to be able to better support her. And that was the first time really I had a shock. So then we've started with lots of investigations. So we've done MRI, ECG, genetic test, but very, very just punctual for the most common genetic conditions that we see out there. And we've done blood work.
Uh-huh.
Everything came normal except the MRI that came with hypomyelination.
Mhm.
So at that time, she was 1, and we went to a neurologist. We are Brazilians, so at that moment, we're still living in Brazil.
Mhm.
So we went to that neurologist, and she said, oh, don't worry. So this hypomyelination will eventually normalize by the time she's 4 or 5. So don't worry. What we can do is provide her therapies to support her at this moment, but that's not a big deal. I was like, okay. And then I was transferred over to United States by my company, and we've moved when Elisa was 1.5. And here in the United States, I've enrolled her to the early intervention program.
Uh-huh.
And I went to a pediatrician here in the United States, and that pediatrician here just accepted what my Brazilian doctor had said. So yes, she has hypomyelination. Let's work it. So she started, since she was 1, she started with physical therapy.
Uh-huh.
And then when we moved to US, through the early intervention program, she was having physical therapy and OT. Because at that moment, we've started noticing fine motor skills delays as well.
Uh-huh.
Because the delays just kind of show up as kids age,
Yeah.
obviously. So then, okay, through this program as well, when she was kind of 1 year and a half, 2, no speech at all, no words, nothing, silence. So like, okay, let's start speech therapy. And then when she was 3, she moved it over from the early intervention program to the special kids needs with the public schools. So she started joining school when she was 3, receiving same services at school and privately. So we were paying for speech, OT, and PT, and she was receiving same services at school as well on weekly basis. And then when she was 4, I remember I was telling my husband, this does not seem to be normalized or getting to a normal path. It's just getting worse and worse. The delays are just accumulating. And this is really when our journey started again, because we're like, okay, there is something going on here. We have to investigate. And then I visited multiple doctors in US. Nobody told me this is genetic. We have to investigate further. Nobody. When Elisa was 7, I've started that journey when she was 4.
Yeah.
When she was 7, I came back home from the 10th, 20th appointment I have had with, I don't know what, specialists, because I went to multiple specialists. And I cried because I told my husband, we are the only parents with a kid like Lily. We are alone in that journey. It's us. And I had a good friend of mine that works in the genetic condition field with clinical research, the field I work with now. And I called her crying, and I said, I don't know, that's life for me. I'm alone in that journey with my daughter. And she said, wait a minute, I will call my boss and I will call you back in a minute. Turns out that boss of her, she lives in Brazil. That boss of her called a friend of him that lives here in US. He's a doctor with Duke Health. That doctor, no, he called that doctor and said, look, there is a family who lives close by you. This is the situation. Would you please see this family urgently? Because here in the United States, it can take up to 1 year for you to get an appointment with a neurologist. That neurologist called me and said, I received a call. I want to see your daughter. Can you come in tomorrow? I went to that appointment, and he just observed my daughter for probably 10 minutes. No words. He didn't say anything. He just observed her for 10 minutes. And she told me, Mom, this is genetic. I said, no way. I've tested her in Brazil. This is not genetic. And he said, this is genetic, and we will do a full exome, and you will see that this is genetic. And then this is when we got the diagnosis. Elisa was 7 years old.
Wow. And the journey really started at 6 months.
At 6 months.
Wow. Yeah. Very similar, by the way. We had the fortune, I guess, of finding out earlier. We also started, my son, Eli, is 13, and we started suspecting around age 6 months that something is wrong. And as you mentioned, as years go by, the delays become more and more apparent. And we didn't quite know what it was. And around age 2.5 is when we found out through exome sequencing about MED13L. But wow, age 7, the years of living with that medical mystery of not knowing what it is, that is a major challenge for parents.
Very painful. And
Yeah.
for me, it was painful for her and for me because I felt guilty at some point. I was like, I'm the only mother that gave birth to a kid that has, I don't know what.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how can you validate your experience
Uh-huh.
if you are experiencing that by yourself
Yes.
alone.
Yes.
It's almost a lack of validation. I was telling people the symptoms and everything that I was experiencing with my daughter, and I didn't get validation from anyone because I didn't have anyone that was going through that with their kids as well.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's hard on both sides. It's really hard.
So when you received your MED13L diagnosis, was there a sense of relief, or was it, or in a way, by knowing what the future may hold, or what it involves, did it create growing concerns about the future?
I think it was a mix.
Yeah.
I think one thing that was good for me to get her diagnosis only when she was 7 is that I had 7 years to understand her and really know what she was able to. So I see that parents that have earlier diagnosis fear of, will my child be able to walk? Will my child be able to speak? How independent will my child be? So at that moment with 7 years old, I didn't have these concerns anymore. But obviously, when I've heard this is genetic and I work at this field, my first thought was, first, is this life threatening? Second, if she would have regressions. So those are my concerns, my pain points at that moment. And then my husband, because we were like, MED13L, my goodness. So how does it help?
Yeah.
Okay, I know what she has. How does it help? Who in the world knows what MED13L is? So my husband went at the internet and found the foundation, like 10 minutes after we got the call from from her doctor. And my husband was like, "Oh, there is a foundation in US." It's like, I don't want to read anything because I was petrified that I would see that the condition was life-threatening or
Oh,
regressive.
oh,
And then my husband spent hours navigating through the website, and he got to me and said, it's not life-threatening, and there has not been reported any regressions among these kids. And I remember at that moment, I was like, okay, now I will connect with them and see what in the world is MED13L. So the first time I've connected with the foundation was one day after I received the diagnosis.
wow. And what was that, 2020, 2019?
It was 19.
2019. Wow.
Was
What a
19.
journey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
And
was.
still ongoing. I guess
I
we can,
think it will
yeah,
always be, right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it will always be.
Yes. So we'd love to hear about what life is like today with Elisa being 11. What is day to day like with her?
It's for the most part, it's a joy, really. I think it was harder for me when she was younger. And because she progresses, so she has a slow but steady progress. And as much as she becomes independent, life has been much easier for us, and she develops emotionally and in terms of her autonomy as well. So it has been easier for me to manage her
Hmm.
today, much easier than it was probably 3, 4 years ago.
Wow.
So she goes to the school, so she rides the bus to the school and back from school. So she leaves early in the morning at 7. She comes back at 4. She has therapy after school every day. And then we have dinner together. I always save like 2 hours of my day to be with her, play with her, do homework. So be with her. And then it's like we have dinner together, bath, bedtime. That's pretty much it during the week. So the
Wow.
weekdays are pretty easy. She's very adjusted to her routine. She understands her routine. So I don't face many challenges. And during weekends, she has swimming classes, so I've assigned her to the special kids, what it's called. I'm blanking now. Olympic Games.
Oh,
So she plays tennis and she's part of the Miracle League as well, and she plays baseball.
oh wow.
She loves physical activities. She absolutely loves it. So I try to assign her to things as much as I can, and also to expose her to the community and to the what's life in community so she can navigate different environments during the week. So obviously there are challenges that sometimes we face. I think the areas that Elisa needs more support nowadays are the behavioral rigidity
Mhm.
that she has and some emotional support,
Wow.
because at some points she can be really immature emotionally. For the most part, she does fine, but when she deals frustrations, she has a very immature response to frustrations. So this is when really she needs most of our support.
I see.
Um,
Is she receiving ABA therapy?
she does. Yeah.
And
So when she comes back from school, so now what we're really providing to her is ABA every day. So she has 1 hour of ABA every day. What's 5 hours per week? And we do speech therapy as well, 1 hour and a half per week, in addition to the speech therapy and OT that she receives at school setting.
I see. You mentioned tennis and baseball, right? How does she handle it? I know with many MED13L children, the motor abilities, both fine motor and gross motor skills are more limited. Is that a challenge for her with the game or not so much?
It's not so much. I think where she faces challenges are more at the swimming class.
Mhm.
Probably, I think what requires a lot of motor planning, a lot of coordination,
Uh,
is where she struggles the most. I think so. She struggles with motor coordination, motor planning,
uh,
more than with really the coordination. My apologies, I said it incorrectly. So she struggles more with motor planning
uh,
than motor coordination. So if she goes to the swimming class, so coordinating breathing with the position of her head, with arms, with kicking legs, this is much harder for her than really kicking the ball
I
at the
see.
baseball. Um, so obviously she has delays, physical delays. So she does not run as good as a typical 11 years old kid, but she runs and she can run fairly fast.
Uh,
She can coordinate. She can hit the ball. She can kick the ball, hold the ball. So she can play tennis. She play tennis. Obviously, she does not play tennis super proficiently, but she fairly plays tennis. And it's interesting because she understands the dynamics.
yeah, that was my next question. How much does she understand of the rules of the game and
She understands very well. I think she has a good language development in and at these moments, so we are able to talk to her. She understands. She has full sentences. We can, with short sentences,
Mhm.
we can explain and talk to her, and she has a good grasp. But Elisa, she learns a lot from exposure and experience. So she observes. She's very concentrated and she observes what others are doing. So I think really when it comes to how she's able to play, it's even more by observation, how she sees the other playing and she grasps that from them, even more than the language communication.
Uh,
So it's very interesting. She learns spontaneously, almost, if you will, again, by experience and exposure, by
and imitating
observing.
others, I assume,
Yeah,
seeing what others are doing. I see.
yes, exactly. And I see that because at the first game, it was interesting because we were there, so we got there earlier, so we were able to watch the previous game. And she was watching, she was not even blinking. She was watching for like 30 minutes, I believe we were there. And then finally, she was her turn to play. And then she was also like observing when the other team was playing, and she does not even blink. It's very interesting.
Uh,
So I think this is how she grasped lots of things, even more than with language communication.
so now, speaking of language communication, would you say that now at age 11, her level of speech is at what age approximately? Both receptive and expressive.
Yeah, she has a better receptive language than expressive, so there is a gap there. I will not precise to you what age, Inon. I think I would not be able to precise you at what age. What I can tell you is that it improves substantially over time. So I think my message to parents is my daughter started the first words when she was three and a half. Until three and a half, she would say mom, probably.
Uh,
That was about it.
uh,
I remember sitting when she was 4, sitting in one speech therapy with her therapist, and she was teaching Elisa the colors. She was 4. Now at 11, she makes full sentences. She's able to express feelings, wishes. She's able to have a pretty fair back and forth conversation. If you talk to her in smaller sentences, she's able to follow 3 to 4 directions.
uh,
She joined the school, a new program at the school called ID Common Core
uh.
curriculum now that she's at the middle school. If you want, I can speak a little bit about
Yeah,
that.
I'd love to hear. I remember that. I remember you telling me about this, and I know that it was a big achievement for her.
It
So yeah.
was. And at this program, obviously, to join this program, she must have a certain level of development
Mhm.
in her language abilities. Um, I speak Portuguese with her that speaks Spanish. My husband is from Spain, and she's exposed to life in English. She's able to maneuver the 3 languages. She
Uh,
speaks a lot of the 3 languages. So obviously, again, she's not an 11 years old typical in terms of language. In any terms, she's an 11 years old typical girl. But these kids, they develop, they learn,
yeah,
and I truly believe that they learn to a point where they may have certain autonomy. So I think she understands more than what she can speak, but even the language difficulties that she has are not a barrier for her communication. So she can communicate, and if she can communicate verbally, she will have other methods to help people understand her. So it's gestures, for example. So I think this is beautiful in my daughter is that we believe that she understands her delays. We believe that she has conscious about her delays. But her delays don't prevent her to put herself out there.
that's so important.
And this is beautiful
Uh,
because this is really beautiful. I think this is the big strength that Elisa has is really She puts herself out there.
That's
It may be
wonderful.
difficult. Sometimes she tells me, Mommy, I'm afraid. Or, Mommy, this is too hard for me. She tells me. And because she's able to verbalize her feelings, it helps me also to help her navigate through the process. And I always respect her limits. I'm always there with her for her, but she puts herself out there. There has not been any instance where she said, Mommy, I don't want to go. She was like, Mommy, I'm afraid. This is hard for me. But
Ah,
Mommy's there. Mommy will help me. And she eventually goes. So this is for sure the biggest strength that she has.
that's wonderful. How does she do socially in class, in school?
Yeah, so it was very interesting because when she was transitioning to middle school, there are certain programs, different programs that these kids can go to. And we were exploring what was the better program, the better fit for her. And we ended up moving her to what is called ID Common Core curriculum. So this curriculum leans more towards the general curriculum. So at school, she has 4 electives with the typical sixth graders
Mhm.
and 2 subjects within her classroom, her contained classroom. So she has English language and math with her contained classroom, and she has social studies, science, agriculture, and physical education and health with the typical sixth graders. This was one of the big concerns for me because it's like, how will she behave being surrounded by 30 typical kids in a
Ah,
classroom?
ah.
She has been in self-contained classrooms until now. 8, 9, 10 kids in the classroom maximum.
And
And
probably
now she
children
would
who are also like more limited in their abilities, correct?
exactly. And now she would be surrounded by typical sixth graders, 30 of them. I was like, we'll see how it happens. So she goes, she has an instructional assistant that joins her and another student on a 2-to-1
Ah,
support setting. But it's been amazing. She has not had any issues with that transition. So the transition since day one occurred really smoothly, no issues, and she's been able to access the curriculum. This is where I guess the language that I was talking about. So there is a teacher there
ah,
giving a content to 30 sixth graders. And then obviously the instructional assistants support her with more kind of basic language so she
ah,
can understand. And the assessments that they do with her, they are also adjusted for her level of understanding. But she's being able to access the curriculum because the assessments are about the content that they just
ah.
delivered anyhow. And also, they group um, Elisa with the typical kids to complete the assignments that they have in the classroom. So they don't keep Elisa with the other atypical kid that joins the classroom. Elisa will form groups with the typical kids to complete the assignments that they have. And it's wonderful to see how the typical kids respect and welcome Elisa to their groups.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful to see that there is an understanding that it's important for Elisa to be in that setting, but it's also important for the typical kids to have Elisa in that setting because she teaches them a lot and they very well receive it. So Elisa, so going back to her first question, she has friendship with all the kids and she has access to multiple different kids because they join different classes and they join different periods. So she's not with the same kids every time. So it's wonderful to see. It's really wonderful to see. And she has a best friend. They've been together since they were 3. So that boy is her best friend. They're very tight. He joined the same program as Lily, so they went to transition to the same school. But it's been, yes, she's very social. She can withdraw sometimes. So sometimes if she feels, for some reason, if she feels overwhelmed by whatever reason, maybe it's too many kids or maybe a too noisy place or yeah, so whatever the circumstance may be, she may withdraw.
Oh,
Um, and I respect when it happens, I don't force her. Okay, I understand that it's too much. Eventually, we were there, so we watch a little bit what's going on, and she puts herself out there. But initially, she may withdraw. But for the most
there's
part,
many kids who would, even typical kids.
exactly. I
Yeah.
think this right, it's normal. But for the most part, she's very social.
We talked a little bit about speech and language. Does she use any devices such as AAC? At any point did you try to introduce them, or was the verbal
Now,
ability sufficient?
and this is something I'm still I have some resistance. I have to say this is more on me that's on her. And I'm just afraid that she will rely a lot on the device to communicate. I know that this is not something that happens. I've talked to multiple people, therapists, parents. I think I just need to
Yeah.
accept the idea, but she has never used.
And also, I mean, it seems like she's doing well with speech. I mean, if she's able to communicate herself to the extent that she doesn't feel frustrated, that she doesn't feel locked in, and other people are able to understand her. And if she also uses gestures, does she also use some sign language, or okay,
She's used in the past, like more. She
yeah,
was using some, I don't even remember. She had so many, but now she does not
yeah,
use anymore. I remember more.
yeah,
She used in the past, but I think since I mean, I don't know, for many years, she does
yeah.
not use it anymore.
Well, it's excellent if she can verbally communicate enough that people understand her. With my son, who for the most part, his verbal abilities, I think, are lesser than Elisa's, and he uses some speech approximation, trying to put a few words together. We can usually understand because we know what it means to say. Probably someone who doesn't know him wouldn't understand, but he uses them in combination with some signs and some gestures. And we actually did try to introduce the AAC many times, and he has one and he takes it to school every day. It's never his choice to use it unless you really prompt him. If you want to get this food, being the biggest motivator, then say, I want more, this now, please. Then unless we ask him to, then he would usually prefer to just try to verbalize, just try to say the name of the food with a sign, and you'll just get it. So yeah, I mean, every child has their communication mode of
It's
choice.
awesome that the communication happens.
Yeah.
I think that was always my point with Lisa. And if she's not making herself understood verbally,
Mhm.
she has other methods to make the communication happen. And I think it's awesome. I think this is awesome. This is part of their autonomy. Um, and I feel she feels very satisfied. It's fulfilling for her that she's able to communicate. And again, the communication may happen not exclusively by language.
Yeah.
It
It's
can
actually
happen,
so
yes.
much that kids and especially our special needs children, but people in general communicate without words. There's so much that you understand, about someone's mood and about someone's, the facial expressions that that let us know what they're going through, how they feel about something. I realize that so much of the communication that is happening with my son is completely nonverbal, and yet we really, we're in the same wavelength. So yeah, that's wonderful. Does Elisa read and write, or somewhat?
She's in that process
Uh,
for years.
uh,
So she writes three 3-letter words.
Uh-huh.
She reads 3-letter words, but this is where we are at this moment. So if you say, for example, she's learning how to write our last name. Our last name does not help anyone. But if I tell her Fracalossi, so if I say fra, like she understands the sounds, but I have to say like fraca, and she come up with the entire word, and it happens for the most part, not just with our last name. We are really focusing on her learning our last name, but it happens with other words. But this is where I told you as well, the progress is slow. It's steady, but it's slow.
Yeah.
It requires lot of repetition, lots of repetition. So,
Does she
but
enjoy drawing, music, other activities or hobbies outside of sports?
she does. So she connects very, very deeply with arts in general. This is her
Oh, wow.
projections.
Oh, it
Yeah.
didn't occur to me.
So
Oh, that's beautiful.
let me turn the camera a little bit. Look,
Oh, wow.
this is
Oh,
all hers.
wow. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, this is my office. So I have my office on the walls. I covered by things that she does. So she loves arts in general. It can be plastic arts, it can be music, it can be concerts. I took her to 2 operas. She loves it. She loves ballet. I take her to ballet. So arts in general really touches her a lot. So I would say that she loves dancing. She loves dancing. Um, and she really enjoys to be with family. So she has a good time just being with family. She needs her moments of isolation. So sometimes the other day she was watching TV in her bedroom, and I went there. She never locks the door. She never closes the door. The door is always open, but I usually knocks the door and ask if I can get.
And I feel like in general with children, I mean, on the one hand, as a parent, you want to encourage independence. On the other hand, sometimes it presents challenges, probably even more so with children who have special needs. Do you find that now is she entering puberty in a way that is creating new behavioral challenges?
I think she has been, yes, and she has been very bossy.
Mm,
Uh, she wants her wishes to prevail, and she wants things the way she wants things.
mm,
Um, so this has been a struggle for us. It's been hard for us.
mm,
She was not as bossy as she has been recently.
uh,
And she's a very sweet girl for the most part, but she can be really sour. she wa- so she has moments where we were like, "Oh ho, let's
uh,
not go that way
uh,
because this is not acceptable." And yeah, and even with her, the things that her interests are changing. So now she wants to use makeup, and now her clothes. So the clothes that she were wearing last year are not okay anymore. So now she's a bunch of other things that she wants. And then the other day I was like pulling a pen, and she's like, why not use this pen? It's like, why not? Because the girls don't use these pens at school. I was like, oh, okay. So she's starting to, she wants to be part
uh,
of that group. It's starting. So she wants to be as she sees the other kids at school. Um, so it's now everything little thing I have to buy her can be a t-shirt. I ask, Elisa, do you like it? Do you like it? Because she's being very picky with her clothes. It's because it must be
Yeah.
as the kids at school. Um,
Which is a challenge for parents, but also a milestone for children. There's a positive to it.
yeah, and now she wants to do everything by herself. So everything she tells me, "Mommy, I got it. Mommy, I got it," because she's not accepting very well my help anymore. So she needs to try first.
Mhm.
And then if she can do, then she asks for my help. But she must try by herself
Ah,
first. What it's good, but it's also sometimes we're rushing in the morning, for example, we're rushing. She has the bus will come to pick her up and she wants to dress herself. Obviously, it takes away more time than I was like, Elisa, let's go, let's go. I got it, mommy, I got it. This is I was like, oh my goodness. So it's a learning process for both of us. It's a learning process for me as well. For me, it's much easier in
ah,
a way to help her instead of be there wait watching until there are things I know she's not able to do. She's not able to tie her shoes. I know she's not. So for me, it's kind of much easier to go and do that for her, but she wants to try first. So I have to just watch her and sometimes watch her multiple times
ah,
until until she asks for help. And I was like, oh my goodness, the time is just flying by, and this lady is
ah,
still trying to tie her shoes. Uh, yeah, so it's interesting. I think it's I just need to learn wake up earlier,
ah.
sure thing, and just kind of respect her process. It's good though that she's trying to do by herself.
Yeah.
But I think this is also what it's important. When I transitioned her to this program at school that I've mentioned, it was not easy because she was not accepted at the first time. I had to have multiple meetings at school with different people really to push and advocate for her. It was not easy. And but probably the main thing that I really made me take that decision was to allow her to be surrounded by typical kids because she's such a good observer
Ah,
that I knew she would grasp a lot from them.
ah,
So I truly believe that a lot of what I'm seeing at home, she's transferring over from school. She's transferring over from what she's seeing at
yeah.
the school.
Yeah. Which I think
So,
speaks to the importance of role models. I've noticed
exactly.
with my son when he was in classes where the children were less developed or developmentally more delayed, and had worse behaviors, he would imitate those bad behaviors, and then his behaviors would worsen. And when he was in classes that, children were better role models, his behaviors improved as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Did you find ABA to be helpful over the years with improving behaviors?
Extremely, extremely, extremely.
What did you
ABA
feel were the major ways in which ABA benefited either Elisa or even you as parents?
behavioral wise, making Elisa understand and verbalize what she was feeling, what was bothering her. So first thing was that because initially she would have these tantrums and we didn't know what was happening. We didn't understand. She was not able to communicate with us. So it was really hard to manage. So now she's able, even if she goes through her moments, she's able to tell me, Mommy, I'm sad, I'm mad because of whatever. So she's able to verbalize and understand her own feelings
Mm.
and tell me and she's able to identify what bothers her
Uh,
and tell us. This is the first thing what that's major. It's a game changer for us to deal with her. Second thing, she has tools to calm down. So if she has her moments and she does,
mm,
it lasts much less than it would last, it would happen in the past. So this is the second thing. And the third thing is, I believe that her ability to again put herself out there, even feeling afraid or feeling overwhelmed, it's also a gain from ABA because she was learned how to manage and control her feelings and understand that feelings are feelings, emotions are emotions. We all have them. Uh, but whatever she's feeling does not prevent her to live her life, to enjoy community, to enjoy things that she wants, that she likes. I think these three things I can express how important these games were to our family and to her.
And what do you think, from her point of view, would be her biggest challenge now that she's feeling, that she's aware of?
That she understands from her perspective.
Uh,
I think probably school.
yeah.
I think she's going through a huge um, difference at school. It's very different
Uh,
for her. And although she's doing very well, she's being very successful, it requires her a lot of energy.
uh,
So I think how probably she sees when she's surrounded by these other sixth graders, I'm pretty sure she sees the differences. I'm pretty sure that she sees that they perform, not they behave, they perform better than she does.
mm,
They're able to do things that she's not able to. And I think that probably this this is when she may struggle more.
uh. And if what the teacher is saying is more complex and she doesn't fully understand it, does that cause her frustration? Does she, in a visible way?
At the school, they've not reported that to me yet
Uh,
because the instructional assistants, I think they're doing a really good job by
mm,
just rephrasing everything to Elisa, and the teachers come and approach her and they really explain to her in a way that she's being able to access the curriculum. And I think this fulfills her. I think it makes her very proud.
uh,
I think the challenge may go when they group with typical kids and she sees them performing and how they perform.
uh,
Um, it was interesting because the other day I took her I took her to a concert and there was a kid that approached her to play, and I was just watching them. And this kid was talking to Elisa, and probably she was not understanding. So she was telling the girl, I can hear you. It's too loud here. And I was like, what? And that girl was repeating, and she's like, I can hear you. It's too loud in here. she, she found it was not that loud there. She was hearing. It was a way that I guess she was frustrated for sure because she was not understanding. But instead of really withdraw or have a frustration and have a meltdown, she found a way to keep communicating with that lady without demonstrating that something wrong was happening there.
um,
I felt so interesting. And then
yeah.
at some point I went there because they were like too loud, I cannot hear you. They were in this back and forth like 5 times. And finally it was there. And I talked to that girl, and that girl was lovely. She was like, "Oh, that's fine." So she started speaking slower in small sentences,
Uh-huh.
and then they played for like an hour
Uh-huh.
together.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so I think even if she experiences frustrations, if what I'm sure she does, and she understands the differences, and this is where really she currently, I think this is maybe where she struggles the most. Um, she has tools, I guess, to navigate through that.
Uh-huh. What is something that you would like to share with parents who have just received a diagnosis or who are new to the MED13L community or the experience of raising a MED13L child, or something that you wish you could have told yourself from the perspective of time when you first received a diagnosis or when you first started dealing with the challenges of raising a child with special needs, even before you knew what the diagnosis is?
I would say be gentle with yourselves and with your child, because the process it's really difficult. I think when you have to, I think all of us, when a child is born with lots of expectations around that parenthood. And when you start noticing really that your child probably will not fulfill those expectations, you have to kill those expectations inside yourself. And this is brutal. It's very brutal. For me, it was very brutal. I felt almost as a grief. So I think I have, for many years, I have to create a new motherhood inside my head, inside my mind, and also revisit multiple times my motherhood, because for years it was not working for me and Lily.
Hmm.
So I think what I'm telling now today, my daughter is 11. So obviously it was not like, I think today I have a very positive um, eyes to my daughter, because I've gone through this process that for me took years, years. Um, I I trust on her future. I trust a lot on the work that the foundation is doing. I truly believe that we will have a treatment available to these kids, and this makes me have a positive eyes to my daughter and to the MED13L kids, but it was not like that in the past. So it took me again years to revisit my motherhood and really understand that the expectations I had would not happen. And it can be very painful physically, even. I remember telling my husband a couple times, like, I feel it hurts in my bones. I don't know how to explain, but it's very painful. And I think that this process of kind of, again, smashing those expectations that I had, creating new expectations, accepting the new expectations that I was having, accepting what I was seeing that was happening, revisiting my motherhood and my relationship with my daughter, it took me probably 5 years. 5 years.
Yeah.
Um, but the result of this process is that now, after I went through this process, we've built such a, a deep and poor love and relationship that I just experienced with my daughter. Because that relationship does not have any expectations anymore. So I was able to get to that point. Everything that comes from Elisa fulfills me because I don't have expectations. So everything that she's able to do, I celebrate. Uh, because again, I don't have expectations anymore. I may have hopes for her, I may have wishes for her, but I don't have expectations. And this love, this intimacy that I have with her, this um I just experience with her. I don't experience with anyone else. It's just with her. And she was the only one that made this experience possible to me. What I can say that today she feels me completely. Completely. I have obviously, I think all of us parents, we have our fears that we share about their futures. We have wishes, we have hopes, but today I can say that I have zero problems with my daughter's diagnosis. It does not make me feel sad. It does not make me feel angry. It does not make it has in the past again. And it took me probably 5 years to go through this process. So I think what I would say to the parents is be gentle. The process is really indeed difficult, but trust that you will get to the point where the future will be bright. You will not have that feeling for longer, for the entire of your life. I just had a conversation with a mom that had her daughter diagnosed recently in Brazil. And this was the conversation I was having with her when she was telling me how hard it had been for her to receive the diagnosis. And it's like, yeah, it is for, I don't know any single parent that received one a diagnosis like that and said, oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
This is okay. We will, it's really a process. So be gentle with you. Don't feel guilty for the feelings that you may have, for the fears that you may have, because we are human beings. These are our childs. It touches us in a very organic point of our existence. Uh, so it's really difficult. I think I would if I yeah. So that's my message is be gentle with yourselves, and this is a process that will pass. That's it.
Beautifully said. And there's a lot of wisdom to that. I think that in general with parenting, you find yourself constantly having to revisit the way that you do things, both because every day is different and kids grow and the challenges become different and they challenge you in different ways. Even more so, much more so with special needs children, MED13L children, who really challenge you in ways that other parents don't even understand. And you have to constantly revisit your parenthood and ask yourself, is what I was doing yesterday, which maybe worked yesterday, does that work today, or do I need to do things differently? And then not every day it works out, and you find yourself trying to do things better the next day, or telling yourself, well, today didn't work out as I hoped. Hopefully tomorrow will do better. So there's a lot of wisdom to that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and Elisa's story. And I hope that our journey only continues to be easier and better with time. It was wonderful chatting.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Of
Thank
course.
you a lot for the work that it's done at the foundation. I think the foundation has a crucial uh, importance to our life, not just because of all we are doing for kids on the potential treatment, but also again to validate parents' experience and to give us a voice out there. Again, I myself experienced the what it is to be alone in that journey. And I think that it's so horrible that just kind of validating our experience, being able to share, having a voice, maximizing our voice, it's crucial. So thank
Totally.
you for having me. I
Of
really
course.
appreciate it.
Of course, thank you. And thank you for everyone listening. And again, this is Voices of MED13L. So the purpose of this program is to introduce parents to the experience of raising MED13L children in different ages, in this case, age 11. And thank you so much for joining us. And thank you everyone listening. And we'll be back with another podcast episode soon. Thank you.
Anything for